Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today is Friday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for the weekend preview. It's going to be a super fun show today, and you all know what I always say: for a super fun show, I need a super fun panel. And let's kick things off with the Tuesday. Throw those twos up. Night Delight, Shad. How are you, Shad?
Throw them twos up, Ben. I am good, man. I haven't done a show with you in a little bit. I want to say it's been a week or so. So good to see you again. Good to see these other two gentlemen who are gonna join us. I'm not gonna, blow their
Not going to
cover.
steal
Yeah,
clocks
yeah,
to make them
yeah,
spoil.
yeah. They can introduce themselves. But the champ is here. I came back from last night. We talked about Throwback Thursday and AEW Dynamite. Today we're talking about SmackDown. And man, let's get into it.
Absolutely. Great to be on a show with you again as well, Shard. We got Lord Virus of Nurgle asking me my thoughts on Okada joining AEW. I think good for him. Hopefully he's earning a ton of money. And I'm also really fascinated with this pairing between him and the Young Bucks. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But that's enough of my opinions. Now let's bring in the head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. How are you, Anthony?
Doing all right. It's been, like Shad said, it's been a while since I've done a show with you, Ben, and it's a back-to-back for me with Shad, and it's always fun for the other panelists as well that I will not spoil. But I'm looking forward to tonight. We got SmackDown, TNA's got a show, and my team starts this weekend, so it should be fun.
Hey. And also joining us, right, from somebody who supports, a decent football team to somebody who supports a terrible one. We have the host to take it to the table and a Manchester United supporter. Chaos.
Our history is way better than yours anyway. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, happy to be here. And thank you for having me on this panel. It's been a minute since I've been on here. And yeah, I would usually be on more shows with Ben, but obviously clearly he does not like me, so it's all good. And since we're obviously all brandishing championships, I thought let me just bring out the one that arguably one of the greatest titles ever made. So yeah, the UK championship. The real champ is here, obviously. And if you want to challenge me, I just got 2K24, so I'm ready, bro. Just send me location and I'm there. Anyway, let's get straight to it on SmackDown and everything else in between, shall we?
Absolutely.
Whoa.
Dude, do I just want my WWE championship? I feel empty-handed here.
I earned this title. This title was earned. Do I need to pull out my Yahoo Fantasy Football app to show you the playoffs?
Yahoo? Who's on Yahoo anymore?
Smoke.
I didn't even know that was still a thing.
Oh man, you know what? Let me go. After today, I'm gonna have to go ahead and buy WWE 2K24 because I'm getting that title too. That title's I'm being two belt shot.
We ain't gonna take it to the table. We're gonna take it to the game. Don't worry, we got you.
Yes, indeed, we will. I was just playing 2K actually right before this show. I was playing the showcase, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, and guess what? I did all the objectives, took me 45 minutes, and then I lost in the last minute. I'm not
Only
happy.
you, Ben.
I'm not happy.
You took your foot off the gas and was like, I got it. I'm good.
I know who wins this match. It'll be fine.
Then he hits the Razor's edge and be like, oh. All right.
It was not good at all. We got JS_352 asking me where's my title. I mean, I don't have one. I'm titleless.
Exactly. Real men who have championships.
Defend it in the arena. And Chaos doesn't defend his in
I
the
gotta get
arena.
my belt now, don't I?
Yeah,
You might as well
everyone's
make
coming out.
him more
You're the
next
title.
one. Get
Next
his
cut,
video one
yeah.
out. Real men have championships. I'm joking.
On that note, let's jump straight in talking about a real man, and that real man is Logan Paul, because Logan Paul, of course, the United States champion right now. The big question heading into SmackDown tonight, well, one of the big questions is who will be facing Logan Paul for the US title at WrestleMania. Obviously, we know Randy Orton's in the picture. They've been teasing that between them. But last week, Kevin Owens was on commentary, and that throws a spanner in the works. Are they going to do Paul versus Orton? Are they going to do a triple threat with Kevin Owens in the mix as well? Or are they going to get, a few other people in the mix, maybe add in Braun Breaker and, a few others as well, and do a ladder match? There's so many possibilities here. Shad, I want to get your thoughts off the bat here. Who do you think will be challenging Logan Paul at WrestleMania?
Well, first and foremost, let's give our future condolences to Jake Paul because he's going against Mike Tyson. I know Mike Tyson is like 500 years old, but he might knock you cold out, buddy. Best of luck to you. In regards to his,
He's almost as old as LA Knight, actually.
oh man, don't do all that, man. But nah, jokes aside, Logan Paul's next competitor, it does make me feel like they are gonna allude to a multi-person match. WrestleMania is a spectacle. I feel like it's an opportunity to fill the card up and fill with as many names as you can. Guys who are on the top of the food chain. And the interesting thing that I thought about with these mid card titles is the fact that we are, hampered by the main titles being tied to the bloodline storyline, everything
Yeah.
that's going on with our guy Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. That there's still a lot of main event guys who don't have anything to do, and you kind of
Yep.
fill the void and put them in these presumably would be mid card titles, but they really aren't as much as mid card titles. I think they've done a good job building them up with Gunther, and then I think Logan Paul being the focal point of a name who helps him out. So with that being said, I'm gonna pencil Randy Orton in this match. I think what happened with them at the Elimination Chamber is not anything that is a secret. It is something that is for certain that's going to happen. But I think you are going to add more people to it because I don't see Randy being the United States champion. I think Randy's got bigger fish to fry and needs to be more of a main stage, main event person. Maybe when Cody, wins the title, that's a future feud, whatever it may be. So I think it is going to be a ladder match. I'm going to put 5 people in it. I'll put 6 people in it. I'm going to put Logan Paul. I'm going to put Randy Orton. I'm going to put Kevin Owens. I'm going to put 2 guys that are feuding, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and I'm going to end it off with the Young Buck Braun Breaker. I think we'll have a 6-person
Yes.
ladder match. I think it's going to be one that could be a show stealer, very exciting match, and it gives you a difficult time to figure out who will actually win the title. I would put my money on LA Knight for the time being because the moment is there for him. And I think they want to give him that moment. But Braun Breaker also makes a strong case. But that's the beauty of it. You put all, killers in the match, you're not going to know who wins. So that is going to be my guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to love those mid-card, ladder matches that used to do at WrestleMania. It always just added a different, flavor to the show, kind of broke up the singles action, the tag action, whatever, and just, also got a lot more names onto the card as well. I think they've been greatly missed the last couple of years, and to see Logan Paul in another ladder match following Money in the Bank, I'd be down for that. But what about you, Anthony? Who do you think will be challenging for that US title? Well, we can't seem to hear you, Anthony.
All right, sorry about that. My Throwback Thursday compatriot kind of in the same wavelength that I do. I think the ladder match makes the most sense. Money in the Bank was classic at those shows, and we've seen the Intercontinental title defended in a ladder match at Mania. not to give Soul a plug, but his favorite guy, Cardona, famously, that there's that famous photo of him winning it.
32.
And I think it's smart, especially if you want to play into, I know it's not the Intercontinental title, it's the U.S. title, but if you're playing into the 2K24, one of the signature matches, of course, is the Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon ladder match for the Intercontinental title from WrestleMania 10, which this would be 30 years later. In theory, this would be the 30th anniversary, so it would make sense to do a ladder match. If you're not going to, I don't see it being the Intercontinental title you're doing with, because I don't see Gunther in a ladder match. The man's scary enough; you don't need a ladder in there. But the U.S. title makes sense because Logan's a high flyer. Then the question is, does it go to LA Knight, or do you go with Breakker? But personally, I want to see Breakker take the title off of Gunther. That's who I think he's the guy that should do it. It would make Breakker even more to beat the unstoppable Gunther. But LA Knight, it would probably be him. I don't see it Orton, because I do think Orton would go towards Cody if they're going to turn Orton heel and go in that direction.
That does make a lot of sense, actually. I really can see that happening. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, they could put both LA Knight and Braun Breaker in that match, and then find another couple of guys as well instead of Styles and what's it called? Well, no, of course. What am I saying? Of course, that's a feud, LA Knight and Styles. Oh, I'm all over the shop today. Chaos, save me. Who do you think's facing Logan Paul for the US title?
Yeah, I mean, let me put this down because this thing is hurting my shoulder. All right, cool. So greatness does hurt.
Fake title.
One of those things. What?
Fake.
No, it ain't fake. You're fake. Anyway, moving on.
The replica might be a real title, but you're not a champion. You're not defending the belt.
It's in my house. I'm the only one out of all of y'all that has it, so clearly I am the champion. Technically,
I have the mini.
There you go. See, you tried. Better luck next time.
There's levels.
All right, cool. There's levels to this. Yeah, definitely. All right. Answer to your question. Everyone's pretty much stolen my idea, but yeah, no, I'm not joking. But yeah, the best answer would have to be a multi-man, because I miss having a ladder match at Mania. I mean, ever since they introduced it in back was it WrestleMania 21? Money in the Bank? When was Money in the Bank?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, 21. Yeah. Just all those Money in the Bank matches, as well as like you said, the Intercontinental Championship matches, they have been lots of memorable moments. And you need to have those kind of matches in a big pay-per-view. You need to have the one where there's like spot fests or high flyers, and those people that you've all mentioned do have a rightful place in this. I always said that LA Knight should have been the one that probably should be the one that should dethrone Logan Paul. Obviously is going in with AJ Styles. I feel like their feud will be more entertaining in a multi-man match than them having just a one-on-one at Mania. I think that their feud is, you can easily integrate that into a multi-man. Braun Breaker, you could put him in there, but I feel like he has bigger fish to fry, if you will. In terms of, I don't think that's the right way of him winning a championship. You could put him in there for him to be, amongst, going for the championship. But yeah, I don't think, even though he had that amazing match against Zion Quinn last week on SmackDown, 5-star, definitely. I feel like there's still a bit more. You can still build a bit more momentum with him to have a convincing title win. So yeah, put him in there, but I won't have him win it. And yeah, I would rather have LA Knight. If he was put in there, he will be the winner of that match to actually have his own WrestleMania moment as well. So yeah.
Wow. I got a person I can alternate Braun Breaker with. Okay. I got Grayson Waller being in it, and I got Theory messing him over in the match too. I could see that happen.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. I could see that happen.
I could see them doing it, even though the Battle Royal is meaningless. I could see them giving Breaker the Andre thing. Because visually him taking out all the other competitors does help his image. Yeah. One of the things I suggested, this was after Scott Hall passed away. I had written a piece and suggested that they would do at Mania every year a a Scott Hall Memorial Battle ladder match. I still think they should do it, and you could tailor it going. It's the 30th anniversary. This is the first year we're doing it. It would be a smart move for them to do it. It's either the U.S. or Intercontinental title, and you could just kind of alternate each year or do something to that effect if you wanted to. But yeah, the ladder match is exciting. It's a smart play to get these people in because, quite frankly, LA Knight versus AJ Styles on its own is not a must-see match. But if you filter it in to a bigger piece, which would be the ladder match, then you got to draw. As much as I like LA Knight and as much as I like AJ Styles, that is not a, oh my God, I need to stay in my seat and watch this match. That's, do I need to go to the bathroom? Yeah, this might be a good match to do it.
True.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is a great point indeed. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I kind of do view LA Knight and Styles' feud a little bit higher than that, considering it was built up in the chamber. That kind of does elevate it to, that WrestleMania level status for me personally. But I do see your point very much so, and I love the Scott Hall idea. I really, really do. A yearly ladder match. I mean, count me in for that. No doubt about it. But now let's move on, and let's move on to talk about, what is it? Oh, the topic's gone missing for me. Here they are.
Bobby who?
I know why they've gone missing.
Bobby who?
I know why they've gone missing. It's because my computer cares even less about this match than I do. Bobby Lashley's facing Karrion Kross, and I couldn't care less about it. I really, really couldn't. Why is it happening? I'm not entirely sure, and that tells me all I really need to, feel about this feud. I don't care about it. Shad, do you have any more positive feelings?
No, nothing about this match has any positive feelings. Rather than it's been a consistent storyline built. It's just been built for, I don't know. It's like the melatonin of professional wrestling. It's putting you to sleep. Like I'll be completely honest with you. In regards to Karrion Kross, I think he has a cool image, cool entrance. I don't think he's a bad worker. There's just the disconnect that he's got on the main roster. And I think from what happened initially before he was released, where they had him in the, weird suit, to him just being consistently booked to lose, it's not connecting. The whole faction itself is not connecting. And there's not a point in my mind with the people he gets booked against where I want to see him win against them. And I do not want to see him beat Bobby Lashley. So I'm hoping it is the end of it. No offense to Cross and his, buddies with AOP and Ellerin and all them, but like it's just they don't do anything. Like I don't even they're not. There's nothing crazy about it. In regards to Lashley though, hold on, my bad. This is also not working either.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. I was like, none of them have any plans for Mania at all.
Yeah. The Street Profits, initially when they started this whole thing, it had you like, oh, intrigued. This is going to be kind of cool. Street Profits look so out of place in this faction. They are the Street Profits. They are fun. They're cheerful, charismatic guys. They are not heels. They are not these dudes who are supposed to be wearing suits every week. And Lashley we can't try to recreate the Hurt Business. You messed it up already once you broke them up for no reason. Stop trying to recreate it with this. You are wasting Lashley, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins' time. BFAB being part of it is cool. It's cool to see her positioned in it, but there isn't anything where she's elevating them either. They look stale as Cross, and that is more unfortunate because Lashley should be in more prominent roles, and the tag team division could really use the Street Profits right now. So
it could.
I'm hoping we we end this off tonight. This is definitely a bathroom break match, though, for sure.
Let's just break all the factions up on SmackDown. Let's just, send them their own ways and, see who sinks or swims. I mean, I kind of do agree with you, but I also think this faction could have worked if it was on Raw. I think the fact it's on SmackDown and SmackDown's got, such a little time each week,
That's true.
because obviously it's 2 hours long and the bloodline stuff takes up a lot of time each week. I feel like that's a large factor of why it's been such a failure. If it was on Monday Night Raw, I felt like maybe, just maybe, it could have succeeded. But listen.
Yeah. Also, Lashley could have been better off in Raw in that main event picture with like Seth, Drew, and all of them too. But yeah, I agree with your point on that.
Absolutely. Well, these two factions might not be successful right now, but you know what is successful? Next Level, because Next Level make our lives so much easier, and they will make your life so much easier as well, because you can have all your links in one place. That means you don't have to search up Wrestling Republic on Twitter, on now X, Twitch, YouTube, all these platforms. See, I can't even name them all. There's so many. Instead, you can have them all in one place. And our place for that is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms linked in one place. Also, if you go down to the bottom of that link, you can enter a giveaway for some free WrestleMania Night 2 tickets. If you guys want to hear more about that, check out the broadcast from Monday where I explain it all in detail. But now let's move on, and let's move on to talk about the next topic. And again, I don't know what's happening with this computer today. Everything's just going slow. You can tell it's a Friday. You can tell it's the end of a work week. And it wants everything to just slow down and to end. But we do have some, big news today. And that big news, of course, was that the US Express are being entered into the Hall of Fame. Well, Anthony, obviously you're kind of the historian to at Wrestling Republic with Throwback Thursday. I mean, how do you feel about this?
They're a little bit before my time, but I did look them up. They are technically 5-time tag team champions, 3 in Florida and 2 in WWF. There are other teams that I would have put in before them, like Demolition and Midnight Express, for example. But these two individuals have had tremendous singles careers. Mike Rotunda obviously was IRS. He is the father of both Bray and Bo. And, of course, Barry Windham, legendary Horseman, already in the Hall of Fame with the Horsemen, and they're real-life brother-in-laws. I think it's fitting to put them in especially as many of us suspect, Bray may go in this year. So it would be a tremendous moment for the family to celebrate not only Bray's induction, but obviously Mike Rotunda's, his father, and his uncle's induction. I think that's where it's probably going to go this year. I think Bray will probably be the last name mentioned, whether or not they do him and Brody, because I think a lot of people want to see the two of them. And I would like to see it. I think there'd be a big push for it for them to go in together. Just like, the US Express going in. I think it's a fitting moment. You have Bull Nakano in there, and Paul Heyman, like Sean and I discussed last night. It's Hunter very much, I think, wants to do the smaller classes. For years there was too many people. They were inducting too many people. Now it's the smaller class, and it's sporadic. Like they drop 3 names in the matter of a week or 3 inductions, as opposed to like the night after Rumble, they would say 1, and then it would be like now they're just dropping them all. I don't know how many more are going in. I would think it might be a total of 4, and I think Bray's the last one. Or Bray and Brody might be the last one, whether or not they throw in another one. But it should be a good induction, and I think a lot of fans really may not know the US Express. Like I think it's one of those tag teams that no one really mentions in the greatest tag team thing. So it would be a smart induction for them, whether or not if they throw in Lex Luger, the whole Lex Express, go the full gamut here. But I mean, he's been rumored. I know his name has come, or he's mentioned it a few times, that whether or not he would go in. But it should be a cool induction regardless.
No, absolutely. And I do think, I don't know, I kind of get the feeling that they're going to do Bray next year. I think this year they might just do, let them have their moment. And then next year do Bray Wyatt. And then I don't think they're going to put Brody in at the same time. I think they're going to just do probably just Bray Wyatt one, him being the headliner. And I think in a few years' time, they'll do one for the entire Wyatt family, including Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan as well, unless they do just put Luke Harper in separately. I mean, maybe they do that.
I think it's hard, and this is just in general. I think it's hard to do a headline main event induction when the person's deceased. Like, I really think they want, for the headliner, I think they want it to be somebody that's alive. And that's not a knock on Bray or anybody, but I just think from a marketing standpoint, I mean, the biggest one that's still not in there is Rock. Like, you figure what obviously it's not happening this year because they would have already said it. So the question is it next year? Like, it's a matter of when. It's amazing he's still not in. And Batista's
on the location.
But Batista's floating too, because remember he was announced at 1 year and then they pulled it. So Batista's still floating there as a future inductee as well. So
really, I completely
I think it was it 20 or 21? They
it was 20. Right, right. The epidemic.
They announced him, and then because there was a rumor whether or not he wanted a crowd or he couldn't make it there for a movie. I think there was something with a movie or something. That was the official reason why he couldn't do it. Yeah, he was announced.
Crazy. I completely forgot about it. Because I remember him being announced. I just couldn't remember him not actually being inducted.
He didn't go in.
That is, oh wow! When he's revealed as well, he was meant to go in last year, and they removed him last minute because he was in South Africa. So maybe Batista's the final one for this class. Maybe he's the shock final one. Maybe.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know.
But talking about, the unknown, ever since Naomi has returned to WWE, it's kind of felt like, the unknown, her booking has kind of, at least to me, seemed directionless. She's come back. She's already lost a few matches. I mean, I kind of presumed she was going to get a monster push upon her return. I mean, what do you think about this, Chaos?
Boy, it looks like she kind of got a raw deal, ain't it? They promise all the glitz and glamours, and no, this ain't gonna be. This is gonna be, we're in a new regime, all this stuff, and not only is she losing matches, she's not even getting a chance to even do her entrance.
That's the worst part. Yeah,
Rock took all that time. So yeah, it's not looking good. I don't know what they're gonna do with her. Like, there could have been some possibilities of a possible feud for her to be in for Mania. I don't even know if she's even going to be in that. Are they still doing the women's battle royal?
Maybe.
Because I don't know how they're gonna recover from this. And me, if I was actually booking it, the twist could be that she could be like finally a new member to the bloodline.
Oh,
and actually join her husband in there. The fact that she's on a losing streak, and this could be like her breaking point, and just join the bloodline, and somehow if they actually carry on the bloodline situation after Mania, which they probably will in some kind of way. Like, I don't think they're gonna, but I feel like they're not gonna be adding members. I think it's gonna be this disintegration of the bloodline as soon as Mania concludes. But that will be a nice twist, if they have anything really good for her going, because right now she just feels like so many person in the roster, and she had a great pop at the Rumble, had a good showing at the Rumble, and it's just weird. I don't know what they're doing with her, but the only way I feel that they could salvage this is if they actually are going to carry on the bloodline saga, would be to make her keep on having a losing streak, and she hits breaking point, and then she turns heel and joins the bloodline and stay beside her husband, and then see where it goes from there. I haven't really thought that far. That's my take.
No, I mean you could be onto something there, and I know you said that you're not sure if the bloodline's going to go on after Mania, and let's just put the entire Roman, whether he's going to win or lose, to the side for a minute. Obviously, I think he's going to retain, but even if he does lose, I don't think it's going to be the end of the bloodline just yet, because I mean The Rock. I think no matter what happens coming out of WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and The Rock will be teasing a future match, and I think the bloodline is going to have to be heavily involved in that. No matter which one, if he wins or loses.
I definitely agree as well. I think, like I said, I think it will be most likely the slow disintegration of the bloodline. Like, obviously, I think Jimmy's eventually going to go back with Jay. They it's the Usos. That is going to happen. Solo is obviously begging to be. He's like Simba, like he's just chomping at a bit to be the next in line and prove himself, whether it's with whether it's bloodline or not. And they've been teasing that throughout the whole saga of him, like saying like I'll take care of things, or trying to prove himself to Roman Reigns, and he's the next in line and all that stuff. And then obviously you got the wise man. He might go back with Punk or the other name that we shall not mention. So I think there's going to be it'll be a disintegration of the bloodline after Mania, and which will lead up to whoever is going to be that ultimate tribal chief between Rock and Roman, possibly on the next Mania. We'll see. The money match.
Money match for the Undisputed Championship, of course, because of course he's retaining at WrestleMania, and that's what's going to happen.
I can't wait.
It's going to be interesting. I really cannot wait, Kale, for you to have to go onto your table, take it to the table and say, firstly, aren't you shaving your hair or something?
Yes, I promise as well. I'm going to clip this again. Yeah, if Roman Reigns wins, if my tribal chief actually wins, I will shave my hair and get a level 1. I will shave my hair. I'm not going to go bald. I will have hair. Say again?
You're going to have next to no hair. You're going to be on your table, and you're going to have to say, Ben was right. Ben was right all along. The tribal chief, I should have acknowledged him. Roman Reigns is the new champion. Because as much as I like Cody, as much as I think, to be honest, he should be the one to beat Roman, I just don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Even though from a personal level, I want him to lose. I want Cody to win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I mean, we got Soul in the comments here saying if Roman retains, he will have a mustache for the rest of the year and shave his goatee off.
He's going to go full
Vince. He's going to go full Vince.
Better like Trent 7.
You're going to become a mustachey man.
Remember, Chaos, he was trying to convince you to do the Road Warriors with him.
Yeah, I know.
remember that? I mean, Soul's always betting his body here. That's the MO as his operation for all this. It's a year later and he's still threatening to shave stuff off.
How many bets were made as well until the actual one happened with Jeff Jarrett where he did shave it off as well? But I mean, oh gosh, those were the memories. Those were the memories. Yep. But now let's move on. Let's move on to talk about TNA, because they have a pay-per-view, a special sacrifice, I believe it's called, tomorrow night. And let's be real, right? You go back just a couple of months, not even a couple of months, a month and a half ago, right? And everyone was talking about TNA, how this was the revival of TNA. And let's also be real, next to none of those names are talking about it right now. And I'm not here to necessarily complain about anything to do with them, right? Because I think they are putting on, for the most part, a good product. But my question here is, well, how can they get more eyes on them? How can they get people to stay watching? It's not just watch their pay-per-views once or twice a year. How can they get people invested in the storylines that they are telling? One common criticism is that there's too many squash matches, short matches on Impact Wrestling right now. But Chaos, I'm going to go to you firstly. How would you, if you were TNA right now, try and get more eyes on your product and keep those eyes there?
Well, first things first, you need to somehow get rid of this negativity around this whole company, because right now they started off strong. Like you said, the strong first pay-per-view of the year. The Royal Rumble appearances, And then obviously everything that's happened backstage is completely just
That's true.
overlapped and like overwritten the whole momentum, and it just seems to be not going away. And I don't know how they're going to correct it. Maybe like rehire Scott D'Amore back at the helm or something, but that's probably not going to happen. I think that just that and the way it happened is completely put this bad stench over TNA. No matter how good the matches are, or they got stacked roster, and I agree. The way that they're going for the Attitude Era type of style matches, like there's so many squash matches, or like the finish just gets rushed, and that's how it was in the Attitude Era. Most matches lasted 5 minutes, but we didn't really realize back then, because obviously of how much talent there was, and obviously we was more focused on the story and whatnot. But yeah, this I don't know how they're gonna do it. This is somehow, I think they just need to really correct what is going on backstage and put that to the forefront that everything is okay, and yeah, people will actually watch and obviously have more compelling matches as well as storylines. Because for me, watching TNA now, I only remember more of the matches than the actual storylines. I couldn't tell you one storyline. I just remember there was some memorable moments in the matches, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm that very casual, or just that they're just not as compelling as how WWE and AEW are, in terms of storylines. But yeah, I feel like they just need to right the ship backstage, and don't put on this false facade that everything is fine when it really isn't. And then yeah, people will actually tune back in, because everyone was going in droves watching TNA when they announced they were coming back as TNA.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think that's what they need to do. Somehow correct the ship, present it to the public, and then keep doing what they're doing and put more compelling storylines. That's simple as that.
I think it is going to be really, really hard to do, to be honest, because like you said, for the first time in years, all the eyes were on them. They had the ball and they fumbled it. And the Scott D'Amore thing as well, that's a great point. That's lost the momentum. Can they get that back? I don't know. But what I do know is, Anthony, you are a big fan of TNA. You are a big fan of Impact Wrestling. You watch on a weekly basis. But, how would you fix this?
I think in a lot of ways, one thing I do want to correct you, Ben, the pay-per-view is tonight, not tomorrow.
Oh, tonight, sorry. Actually, I knew that as well.
Of course you did.
I did. I was talking to Archie, who will be reviewing it on the website tonight. I was talking to him earlier, but yeah, anyway, go ahead.
So I think, Hard to Kill was an unbelievable pay-per-view. Again, all eyes were on there. The Rumble appearance helped too. A lot of it was deflated with the Scott D'Amore thing. I think that hurt it. Again, the company it's been around for 20 years, plus years. It has a lot of negative connotation because of the bad stuff that has happened over the years, the mismanagement, the talent departures, all of that. So when you had somebody where everyone viewed Scott D'Amore like they view Triple H with WWE, like, this is the guy. This is the one that's going to resurrect this. And then you're like, nah, he's gone. Wait, what now? Like, what are you doing? I think that hurt it. And I think shows like tonight are the test to see, can this company continue to do what it's doing? Because keep in mind, yes, Scott D'Amore got shown the door, but the creative team and the talent are still there. So as long as the pieces fall into place, you can do the stories. As long as the stories, everything works. Personally, I would love to see Scott D'Amore come back or buy the company, which has been rumored that he tried to buy the company. I think it's in safe hands with Scott D'Amore, but if the talent is willing to commit and the creative team is doing what they were doing under Scott, there really shouldn't be any difference from the audience from what they're seeing. TNA has done something that a lot of the other companies can't do. They've done the women's division correctly. A lot of them can't do it. They've done women's tag. A lot of them have tried, have not succeeded. The X division, often imitate it, never duplicate it. That is the one constant with that company that's always delivered. So I think there's a lot to look forward to see what the company's able to do. I'm not just saying that as somebody that has the membership to watch the shows. I really think it should deliver. One of the big matches tonight is the rematch of Josh Alexander against Hammerstone. and we saw them tear the house down the last time they faced each other. And now Hammerstone's under contract to TNA, so it's not a one-off. So I think I wouldn't close the door on TNA. I think that for them to be an alternative, I think there's a chance there. And I think they've always smartly, other than the time when, Dixie thought she can actually compete and, said that, like, what if I bought WWE? Yeah, that worked out. So Panda Energy is not even in business anymore. So, when you look at that, they try to be the alternative. AEW has struggled with this whole, we're the alternative, we're not trying to compete. At the same time, you're like, we are competing. We are going to be the company. TNA knows where they are. They know where their swim lane is. They're going to be the alternative. They're not trying to compete with WWE. They're not insane. They know they can't beat them. They know they can't beat AEW. They're focusing being on the alternative. I think you need to focus on that. That's what Bischoff did with WCW. The big thing with him was, what's WWE doing? I'm going to do the opposite. And I think that's what TNA is doing. So I think don't close the door. I think let's see how this plays out.
TNA is like Nintendo. You got AEW and WWE, which is like Sony and Microsoft, and then you got Nintendo just doing their own thing, which is TNA. So that's good.
I don't know if they have quite the same cult following though. I don't know. I feel like they have a cult following, but I feel like that.
Ben, there's no logic.
Very small.
There's no logical reason the mistakes that company had made over the years, and we could go down the list. The fact that they're still alive. True. There has to be something there to keep that thing alive. I mean,
I think it's the hope. I think a lot of people are still, riding on that hope. TNA provided the alternative.
There's never been a company that has been pronounced dead more times than them.
No, that's true. They are hard to kill.
I mean, yes.
That was a good one.
Anthony, you give me an idea for a tier list as well. Yeah, TNA's mistakes. We gotta do that.
TNA's mistakes. Oh, that is the next one. I mean, Anthony, the one thing I do want to quickly say before we pass it over to Shad is you mentioned a lot about tonight's show that they're doing and how there's a lot to look forward to on that show. But again, there's been no real buzz around this, around the internet wrestling community about the event. Not many people are talking about it. So, I mean, how would you actually get literally more eyes on it to see what they were doing again?
It's tough because, getting them, they're on Access, which, some providers are not even carrying anymore. So that it's a difficult situation where it's almost like Tony Khan's Ring of Honor, where you can only watch it essentially on the streaming service. Realistically, if they can make some type of deal to get on a more prominent channel, I think would help them with it. And I think ultimately you got to prove that you could run this company without Scott D'Amore. I think that hurt. I think that really hurt the company in more ways than one, because the momentum, they lost a lot of the momentum. So you kind of almost got to build it back up, and it's going to take time. It's unfortunate, but you just got to keep doing what you are doing and hit on those cylinders, whether you increase advertisement. I'm going in a couple of weeks to an Impact taping. So I'm waiting to see what it feels like in the arena with the audience. I think it's going to be hot anyway. It's the ECW arena, Philly. It's going to be hot, but I want to see what they're able to do, because now because what they're going through now is probably stuff that was already laid out by Scott D'Amore. Like, as time goes on, it's going to be more this creative team. And I think that's going to be telling to see where this goes.
It absolutely will be. I mean, Shad, what about you? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, there isn't enough room for a third challenger promotion?
So I think the most important thing that you guys all said is staying in your lane and keeping expectations as realistic as you can. WWE is the NFL, the NBA, the head honcho. AW is a sizable gap below them, but then TNA and all these other promotions, MLW, New Japan, they have a sizable gap from AW, and I think that's fine if you keep your expectations knowing that we're not going to be able to compete with them, but we can create a alternative for fans to want to watch, to be invested in, and like you guys said, have your own specific image to it, something that's different than all of it. That's fine. They're a company that has been lasting for over 2 decades. That's not easy to do. And I my main thing is this. I think the comparison is what we are getting off of the hype that was once they just changed the name. That's all that really changed, right? Just the name.
It's
Going
true.
back to a name that we know previously before, the presentation looks different, but it's kind of the same uh television show we've been watching these last few years, and that's not a problem. I like Impact Wrestling TNA. I think they have a good product. I think there's a lot of talented superstars there. If it's just difficult because you're putting your backs against the wall against two bigger machines, and you kind of have to focus upon making yourself a steady machine that can keep the boat floating through the ocean and whatnot. Uh, you got to get more eyes on the product, and that's the difficult thing, because that, to your point, where it's accessible to see, a lot of people don't have access television. A lot of people don't want to subscribe to another streaming service or potential streaming service. A lot of money. It's got to. I remember when it was on Twitch, it was easier to watch, right? Like
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
true.
It was more accessible to watch that way. They got to find a way to get more eyes on the product, and I think the main thing is getting someone who's gonna bring eyes to the product. I feel like they have a solid roster, but they've not had like a big time person. They got Trinity for a little bit. She had eyes on coming in. Feel like that's the unfortunate thing, is they're not able to, reel in a big fish. And if they could reel in a big fish, a person that is a big name, and even we were talking about it going back to TNA, maybe having a relationship with WWE to get
Oh
some of
yeah.
their names on their product, or have a former name like AJ Styles or whatever get on shows.
Oh,
That could
huge.
be good, but they got to get creative. That's all I can say on that.
Absolutely. I think you did nail it there. A partnership with WWE, I think, could certainly be mutually beneficial. But on that note, guys, it's time to wrap up. If you did enjoy this show, please like and subscribe on YouTube. A cheeky 5 stars on Spotify is always appreciated. And on all those platforms, wherever you watch us, please support us. We're live every day. We'll be back tomorrow for the SmackDown review. Thank you to Chaos. Thank you to Shad. And thank you to Anthony for joining me here today. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.